Great. Welcome to all of you. Do you all understand my bad English? You're all asleep? Okay, great. Welcome to this hemicycle, and thanks a lot to the European Parliament, to his President, President Tajani, and the Secretary General, Mr. Welle, to authorize us to sit here today. So this is a unique opportunity, and you will have a chance afterwards to take pictures and to show your friends, parents, that you can be the President and that you're sitting in a hemicycle which is never that full. Never. So this is really a great feeling. So thanks a lot for being with us. We are still waiting for the mayor of Mechelen, Malines in French, and so I will just try to heat you up a little bit. So, who comes from Luxembourg? You wonder, why do I ask? Weil wir Schlützeburger sind. I come from Luxembourg, so hello to you. And you will see Luxembourg is a great place. And the stagiaires in Luxembourg all know each other, and it's great fun. I will not say it's better, but it's different. So well done. Okay, and then I will try the usual thing where I always make mistakes. So let's follow. Who is from the Commission? Wow. Yeah. Who is from the European Parliament? Wow. Who is from the Social and Economic Committee? Okay. Who is from the Committee of the Region? Wow. Oh, they always sit together. Wow. Who else? Did I forget? The Council. I always forget one. Council. Wow. Wow. Great. So, just a few words, since we still wait for the mayor. So I'm the Director General in charge of education, culture, youth and sports. So I'm in charge of the program you probably all know. And those who do not know, please show your fingers. Erasmus. Everybody knows Erasmus. Who has been on an Erasmus program? Wow. Wow. Okay. So I'm the mother of Erasmus. And you would wonder, why am I not the grandmother of Erasmus since I turned 60 this year? You know why? Because today we celebrated the 30th anniversary of Erasmus. And so Erasmus celebrates this year, 30 years, and that's why I'm the mother and not the grandmother, even though I could be. So now I finished my joke. I will maybe say a few words to you now, but I will try to show, we will not try, we'll show you now a video, which is the video that has been produced by your predecessors 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago. So my plea to you is please don't be politically correct. You must have understood that I'm not, and I will never be. So that's part of my originality. And this video has been produced by your predecessors. So if anybody in this place has a feel to do a theatre play, whatever, please join, come together, organize yourselves, because that's the result of your work without any interference, but that you will understand very quickly. Let's move. Afterwards, I will be fired.
Bonjour, man.
Bonjour.
Ouvre la porte, man.
What do you want, man?
They just wrote about me.
What did they say?
I don't know why this is happening.
Who said it?
The journalist next door, you know?
Oh, man.
I don't know what to do.
Well, explain it wasn't you.
Alright, meteorites that they call me red-handed, chatting with the lobby next door. Picture this, we were both caught making deals on the 13th floor. How could I forget that tabloids choose what they want to see? All this time they were messing with my credibility. So they got me banning corgis.
It wasn't me.
Saw me banning smoky bacon.
It wasn't me.
I even banned double-deckers.
It wasn't me.
No more crooked bananas.
It wasn't me.
All the money that I'm spending.
It wasn't me.
Regulations never ending.
It wasn't me.
EU fees getting higher.
It wasn't me.
Bureaucrats are on fire. Meteorites that they call me red-handed, chatting with the lobby next door. Picture this, we were both caught making deals on the 13th floor. How could I forget that tabloids choose what they want to see? All this time they were messing with my credibility. But they called me banning cordies.
It wasn't me.
Saw me banning smoky bacon.
It wasn't me.
I even banned double-deckers.
It wasn't me.
No more crooked bananas.
It wasn't me.
All the money that I'm spending.
It wasn't me.
Regulations never ending.
It wasn't me.
EU fees getting higher.
It wasn't me.
Bureaucrats are on fire. Media rights and they call me red-handed, chatting with the lobby next door. Picture this, we were both caught making deals on the 13th floor. How could I forget that tabloids choose what they want to see? All this time they were messing with my credibility. They should tell you that they're sorry for the pain that they've caused. I've been claiming all these headlines, they make no sense at all. They should tell you that they're sorry for the promises made. You may think that they'll fulfill them, but they've already failed. That's why I sing, media rights and they call you red-handed, chatting with the lobby next door. Picture this, we were both caught making deals on the 13th floor. How could I forget that they choose what they want to see? All this time they were messing with my credibility.
So now you can see that the bar is very high. Now it's your turn. That were your colleagues. So I think you can now adapt to whatever. Be creative. Dare to be who you are. Trust yourself. And welcome to all our institutions, because this image we probably need to change. And that's why I now give the floor to Steve Clark, who will tell you lots of very interesting things. Thanks, Steve, for being with us.
Thank you very much, Martine. I'm the guy from the Parliament. The Parliament isn't here, actually. It's in Strasbourg right now, which is why they thought they could live without me in Strasbourg, so they sent me back here. Welcome to the European Parliament. This is the democratic heart of the EU, as we always say. And, well, I'll explain how that works in a second. Firstly, a question, though. Since we're doing hand-raising, who's from the UK? Good on you! Hang in there, people. You may have realised I'm from the UK as well. And I just have the one nationality, so I'm sort of committed to the cause. Okay, let's get on with it. So, addressing you made me think, how was it when I was kind of your age? I started when I was 27. Maybe that was a bit older than most of you. Europe looked like this. The bright dawn, the glorious future, Jacques Delors was in charge. Things like the Maastricht Treaty, the single market, the euro, EU citizenship, enlargements to another 15 countries, all of that, the Lisbon Treaty, all of that was ahead. And it was kind of inevitable. It was the way things were. We were on a roll, basically. And there were kind of people around the place who were, the old generation of Euro idealists. These people who had fought the fight in the 50s and 60s. And they seemed a little bit out of place, a bit anachronistic. Slightly embarrassing even, a bit like your sort of uncle at a party who goes around telling everyone how important it is that you really have to understand, whatever. So, I think there was even at that point a little bit of complacency amongst some of us, in spite of the fact everything was so bright. And then this happened, right? 2008, the crisis. I mean, there were signs already, that it constant carping in the UK tabloids, bit of an accident over the Maastricht Treaty in France and in Holland, I think, yes. But, basically everything was going according to plan. But then suddenly, boom, we get this. We get this crisis, and we get populists, we get a lot of Euroscepticism. Suddenly the European Parliament, and where are they? Hang on a minute, let me get this right. Eurosceptic groups all sitting over here, so you people there, You've got the names of the people on your little screens, I think. Yeah? No? Are they not there at the moment? Okay, sorry about that. So someone is sitting in Nigel Farage's chair, so you were on the screen just now. Anyway, all that started happening. And I suppose you might say that it all culminated. We've seen the bus already, actually, in the video. Yeah. Here it is again. Fake news, all this stuff about Europe, and it's all a bit kind of depressing. But if you're British, and those people in the room would realise this, and maybe even if you're not British, there's been a kind of paradoxical effect because of Brexit and because of other things, because of Donald Trump, perhaps. We've kind of realised it's kind of a dynamising thing. It's kind of, we need to get going again here, right? And that's what it's about now, for me. It's time to stand for something, and that thing to stand for is Europe. It's for what it's what we're here for. And we're going to, this is going to be it's the beginning of a process now. I don't know if any of you listened to the State of the Union address in September, but President Juncker.
Let's see, who listened?
Who listened? Who saw the State of the Union address?
Wow, they are good students. Wow.
Yes, that's excellent. How can I say it? He talked about the positive signs, the new optimism, but I don't think we can take anything for granted. And one of my jobs over the next 2 years is going to be to do with the communication campaign about the next European elections. And for those elections, we want to talk about Europe. We want to make them about Europe. So this feeling and what we're going to stand for is part of that process. Now, I can imagine on your part 3 reactions. Reaction 1, sign me up, I believe. Right? Well, if you're one of those, okay, slightly worried, but okay, good, that's great. Join the club. We need you. Uncle Sam needs you, or Uncle Jean-Claude needs you. You might think, hang on, I thought this was about going to Place Lux on a Thursday night. Well, it is actually about going to Place Lux on a Thursday night. Networking is really important, and all kinds of things are really important happen on Place Lux, as you'll find out very soon. Have fun, of course, it's great. Having fun is what a traineeship is about. But you can have fun and you can still fight for the cause. And maybe a third reaction would be this. What? Little me? I'm just a trainee. What can I do? Well, I have to say that one of the things that I've found, at least about the Parliament, and I guess it's the same in the Commission, is that it's surprising what little me can achieve. Have some ideas, talk to the right people, get your boss to like you and listen to you, and it's amazing what you can get through. You can make a video like that, which is then shown by a Director General, another generation of trainees that comes later. There's all kinds of ways you can influence the future. So little me, don't worry about it. You're facing the forces of evil? Sure. Darkness? Get in there. It works, especially when right's on your side. And this is a message I think you've already got, very much from the video. This is not about people in suits. It's not about the grey fonctionnaires and all of that. It's about imagination. No one could be less grey. I'm actually quite grey today, but that's another story. There we go. So think like that. Think different. That's what it's all for. Make your mark. Okay. Try that in the office and see what happens. But really, the real message I wanted to give you today was this. You guys are the ambassadors of the future. You're the young ones, you're the cool ones, you've got loads of friends, you're on social networks, right? Even during your traineeship, you're going to find all this stuff out. You're going to realise how great everything is. But even when you've finished, join in, keep going. We need ambassadors, we need people out there as we get towards those European elections, which are going to be really critical. They're going to be really important for how this continent projects itself in the future. Join the cause. There will be ways of doing that. We're going to sort of try and mobilise people, mobilise stakeholders, and you have to be the first people who are in there saying, yes, I'm up for it. I want to sort of fight for Europe. I believe in this thing. It's a cause worth fighting for again. And when you work together, it's amazing what you can do. Try that in Place Lux, actually. That would be a good one to do. That's it, really. That's all I wanted to say. Welcome to the European Parliament. It's great to have everyone in the plenary chamber. As Martine said, it's not normally quite this full, and perhaps the energy levels, even when it is quite full, are not quite as high. But anyway, it's great to see you here. Welcome. Enjoy the next few months.
Great. Thank you, Steve. I think the fil rouge is probably what you just said, think different. And now we have somebody who is the champion of not thinking differently, but acting. So he's not only a speaker, he's a doer, he's the star of the mayors in Europe. And he will tell you why. Bart Somers, the floor is yours.
Thank you. After such introduction, what can you say? It's difficult, but I'm very honored to be here with the future of Europe. You are the future of Europe. And I want to tell a few words about what I did and what happened in my town. And maybe you will recognize Europe in it. I'm mayor of a city of Mechelen. It's only a city 25 kilometers north of Brussels. It's a very multicultural city, more than 138 different nationalities. 1 out of 2 kids born in my town have a foreign background, and 20% of the people are Muslims. And what is special about my city is that it's part of a bigger urban area, let's say Brussels-Antwerp, but out of my town, nobody left to fight Syria. And that took a lot of international attention. They wondered how does it come, because out of Brussels 200 people left, out of Antwerp 100 people left, out of Vilvoorde, a small city near Mechelen, 27 left, and nobody left out Mechelen. How is that possible? And for myself, I also had to think, what did we do the last 15 years to have that good result? And then discussion started, and then you see that the European level and the local level can work very well together. What's the reality of that problem of extremism and terrorism? That is, once somebody is radicalized, it's very hard to de-radicalize him, to bring him back to normality. It costs a lot of money, lots of efforts, and success is not guaranteed. So the best thing to do in our fight to extremism and terrorism is to prevent people getting radicalized. And the way you have to do it is very easy. Recruit them for democracy, then they won't be recruited by ISIS. And recruiting people for democracy is making citizens of them. And how can you make somebody citizen of your society? That's with an inclusive approach. Treat them as equals. See them not as migrants, but as partners in your town, as real citizens. And we worked on that in a very intense way. And a few things we did was, for example, fighting segregation. Because we all speak, we are an international group here, we all speak about the benefits of diversity. But in reality, in a lot of our cities, people live on islands, monocultural islands. In fact, our cities are often archipelagos of monocultural islands. How many real people do we know with a complete different background in our own circle of life? How many friends do we have with another conviction? It's often not so much. So fighting for that, fighting segregation, creating mixed schools, mixed neighbourhoods, mixed sport clubs, where people can meet, where people learn to live together is for me one of the key elements, and that's something you can only do on a local basis. Second thing we tried to do was fighting the narrative of populism. Populism is a little bit like George Orwell in 1984. You know, the Ministry of Peace, always on war. What do? They take the narrative of our values and change them in exactly the opposite. It starts with speaking about Western values. We know it are universal values, but when you start speaking about Western values, you already have them and us. And secondly, they transform them in completely the opposite. Our values are not created to push people in the corner. No, they are created to integrate people in society. They are bridges for emancipation, not instruments of segregation. And I give you, for example, a beautiful thing I often hear. When people come to me in my town, they say sometimes, yeah, Mayor, diversity, it's a nice thing, but they have to adapt to us. And we are not going to change anything about our values. And if you start asking what those values are, it are not our basic principles we don't have to discuss about equality, men, women, democracy, the rule of law. No, they are speaking about traditions, about habits. And they ask from the other that he really becomes like they are, that they assimilate to their identity. And of course, it doesn't work like that. And then I have to explain to them that what they do, in fact, is destroying the core of our society. What is the core of our society? It's based on freedom. And freedom means discussion. And discussion means changing things all the time. We are always changing our habits and traditions. You know the group who changed our traditions and habits in Europe the most? I think half of the whole year is part of it, of that group. It are women, with women's emancipation, when women stood up for their rights on the basis of our fundamental values, and they asked the right to vote, the right to work, the right to equal pay. And the reaction of the men in the beginning was the same, very conservative, saying they are stealing our jobs. If they are going to vote, we lose our power. Exactly the same reaction we see now today when people with a migrant background stand up and say, oh, we are also Europeans now. We are part of this society and we want to change things. Discussions are not easy, but if we are not open for it, we betray the basic value of Europe. And another group, gay people. When in my country gay marriage is possible, I'm from Belgium, gay marriage is possible, the first reaction of people was, hey, if two men may marry, my marriage will lose value. But those people asked it on the basis of our fundamental rights, not against it. And you see that all the time in our society, workers' rights, women's rights, and now there's a new group, cultural rights of minorities. And now there is a new group standing up, and we react completely opposite to our basic values. Another thing that those populists often forget, we have to fight for our fundamental values, and you have to do it. You have to take back the narrative. But never forget that one of the basic European values they never speak about. And that's, you know what it is? We have a dream to tell to people. The European version, let me say, of the American dream. If you work hard, if you do your best, you can get a better future for yourself and for your kids. Upwards social mobility. That's where we believe in. If it doesn't work anymore, our dream is dead. Our promise to everybody is a lie. What destroys that dream the most? An irrational thing. Racism. Discrimination. That keeps people at the bottom of society. That takes away their chances to get a better future. If you really stand up for European values, you stand up against racism and discrimination. You make a difference there. And if you go further and you look deeply in where we stand for, Europe is not a way of life. Europe is tolerating different ways of life. That's the basis of freedom. That you accept that people can be different. That we have more than one identity also. I'm not only Belgian. When I'm in New York and they ask where do you come from, I come from Europe. When I'm in Germany, I come from Belgium. When I'm in Brussels, I come from Mechelen. And it's the same with all of you. We switch all the time from one identity to another. And at the moment, populists try to convince people that you only have one identity. And if you accept that, then you kill again the European dream. Because also our European dream is based on the idea, the concept, that you can have different identities. So we tried to do that policy, and we were successful. And what we saw is that in my town today, with all the troubles we have in Europe, people came closer because they feel respected. They feel the part of society. We even dare to say, and politicians are not courageous, a lot of them are not courageous, we even dare to say that everybody has to integrate. It's not a story of they have to integrate. We all have to integrate. Let's be honest, we have to integrate all the time. We have to integrate in a new era. My family lives since 1520 in the same city, but I'm the first generation of 17, that lives in a diverse, multicultural city of Mechelen. So I have to integrate in that new reality. And it demands efforts also from me. I was already a politician in the 90s, and then social media came. I had to integrate in social media. It was not easy. It changed my world. Sometimes I think it's now better or not, I don't know. But I had to integrate. I couldn't step aside. So we have to do it all the time. So stop also with that narrative of them against us. If you create an equal platform where people can meet and people see themselves as citizens of the same society, and they all acknowledge that they all have to do efforts, that they have to accept that there is change in society, then you get a better city. And look now to Europe. Isn't it exactly the same story? Is it a story of accepting that there is change is needed? That we have different identities, that we all have to do efforts, but that we need each other. We need each other in a changing world where the only home that really can help us in the long term is this house, is Europe, and you're the future of it. And I wish you a lot of success with it. Thanks.
Now you know why he's the star. But he's not only talking about it, he's practicing, and I think this is really, it's a great feeling. I think as Macron said in his speech, there was not only the State of the Union speech, there was also the Macron speech, we are all Brussels. And I think you are all Brussels now, and you will now face the situation whereby you will get the blame too. So as the mayor just said, it's now up to you to stand up. I wanted to say a few words about the way I made my career. And, you know, I just told you I'm 60. I'm now the Director General of DG EAC. And I wanted just to give you a few highlights about what functions in my case, which will be different for you, which has been different for the mayor, which has probably been different for the director. But I have a few guidelines. Since you start this traineeship, the first thing is make friends. And I even go a little bit further. It's not only about the Place de Luxembourg, it goes much further. Usually opportunities come because you meet people, because at some stage you meet the guy who says, wow, I want to hire this guy. A very little story about this. When I was in one of the cabinets of the Commission, which is the private office of the commissioners, and I had a very complicated boss. And this boss had asked me to invite the Director General. I was 28 or 29, and I knew that that Director General did not speak German. And the Commissioner was Luxembourgish, which means that he spoke German. And I said to the Commissioner, yeah, but this guy doesn't speak German, and you have invited MEPs from Germany. Oh, we'll see. Meeting starts, the Commissioner speaks in German, the others speak in German, and I said, this is just not possible. The Director General was Italian, they didn't understand a clue. So I took my chair, moved to the Director General and said, and I started translating. 2 days later, I got a phone call. I'm looking for an assistant. Would you be interested? So this, of course, is just an anecdote, but I think it's just to highlight the message, you know, go for relations. It's really about, you say network, I say friends, because I think it goes much further. It's about confidence, it's about trust, it's about building networks, and that's really important. Another very important message is one of those which is given very often by the Dalai Lama. I'm a great fan of the Dalai Lama, by the way. You know, Mr. Mayor, who fills up the rooms on this planet? 2 people for the time being. You, but you are not one of the 2. One is the Pope, and the other one is the Dalai Lama. And I think the 2 of them, and now I will add the mayor after today, is they talk with their hearts and not with their brains. And I think that's my other message. I think it's really important in today's world where we have so many fake news and, you know, all this, you know, to dare to have a heart and to dare to be emotional. I think once in a while you can cry, you can say, now it's enough, but passion, and you've seen this with the mayor, you have seen this with Steve, passion is important in life. I think put passion in what you're doing. Whatever you do, you will make the right choice. But once the choice is made, go for it and take all the consequences. That's part of the job. And be the change, and that's also the message of the mayor, be the change you want to see in the world. That's Gandhi. I think this is really important. I think we messed up, I'm very sorry, in my generation. We messed up and we left you a society which is not necessarily the one you want. But now it's up to you to stand up and to take his job, my job. That's what you have to do now. Don't leave your future in the hands of the oldies. That's what happened in the UK. You didn't go to vote. So I think it starts with democracy, if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, build a new system. Why not? And really, be honest with yourself. And it's really important, and you said it early on, it's really important to see at whatever level, being it a trainee, being it an administrator, being it a director general, then you can make the difference. And I will show you a video in 2 minutes or 3 minutes just to show you why this is really important. The other thing which is really important also in my career is dare to be who you are. Don't play games. I think girls, you are girls. Don't try to be men. That doesn't work. I think we have seen a whole generation of women with the grey suits, with very boring attitudes and behaving very often worse than men. We have different qualities. We are different. Don't try to play the model of men. Dare to be who you are. Same message for the male colleagues. Don't try to be who you are not. I think people feel who you are. You all know the story of the iceberg. People feel below the iceberg. They feel how you think. They feel what you fear. So don't try to play games. I built my whole career because I dared to say things. Sometimes I behave. Sometimes. Not always. But I'm a little bit outside of the usual system that you will understand quite quickly. Usually we live in a yes-man society. This is also very common in the UK. I've never been a yes woman. Never. It also brought some problems, as you may imagine, but it also brought me lots of help, and people know that when I'm saying something, I really believe in. I don't cheat. I don't cheat. I dare to say here in front of 1,000 people, I don't cheat. And I think this is really very important because people can feel it if you do. The third thing is play your game the way you are and dare. You said it. You said it. I think the mayor really tried a new policy. It was not obvious for him. I'm pretty sure that he got lots of criticisms about all those foreigners that will kill our kids and rape and, all of that. He had the courage to change the situation. You will have the courage to defend Europe. So at some stage, you need to know what you're fighting for. And I think my fight in my daily life is always really to be who I am and to go for it. So my message to you is dare, be courageous, be who you are. And now I will tell you the story of my last job. When I joined DG EAC, it was a very boring place. Where are the colleagues? Very boring place. Very traditional DG. And I thought, you need to change something here because you can't go on like this. And you can't just preach. I'm pretty sure, and you heard it from the mayor, he's the first one who shows and leads by example. I think you are all leaders. I think you wouldn't be sitting here if you wouldn't have had brilliant studies, if you wouldn't have leader skills. I'm pretty sure you all have them. But at some stage, you will be able to make the difference. But that only works by leading by difference. Being a manager, being a leader is like being a father or a mother. If your father or mother tells you not to do something and they do it themselves, you know what the result is. That's just not credible. So if you are a boss and if you ask the people to be in the office on time, and if you come in every morning at 10 o'clock, that doesn't work. So coming back to DG EAC, very boring place. They had no Christmas party. They didn't know each other. So I first empowered the young people to come forward with an ideas lab and some things like this. And then, for the last Christmas party, and what I will show now to you is a video. And it's not about brilliant performance. That's not the idea, and it's not. It's just to show that with little things, you can make a huge difference and change completely the atmosphere in a DG. So now if we could just see the video, which most of my people asked me not to show because they say you can't. And I say I will. And you will understand very quickly the why. Let's move. Oh, mistake, sorry. T'as pas l'autre? On peut pas la retrouver? Celle de la fête de Noël. He didn't. So that's a very interesting story. That's a very interesting story. That's a very interesting thing. That shows how we function. When we talked with Mathieu, who was in charge, I said to Mathieu, I would like the video where I dance on Dirty Dancing last year for the Christmas party. And he said, no, you can't do it. And he didn't get the message. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. So, sorry about that. It is, no problem. It is on the web page of DG EAC. I still like him. It's great. But it really shows. It's really, by definition, it shows that, if you are not in line, it's really difficult. And he's much younger than I am, so it's not a question of age. It's just a question of he's much more in the loop than I am. So I think that's great. Last message, and then we will go for the picture because the mayor has to go, about difference. So watch the video. It's good fun. I'm blonde with, I'm Olivia Newton-Jones. You'll see. It's great fun. Last point about myself. I'm not that fascinating, but just to give you an example. I'm a yoga teacher. So I'm not the only one practicing yoga. Why do I say this? I put it on my CV. And why did I put it on my CV? Because that makes me different. You are all brilliant. You all have brilliant university studies. But there's one difference. Being a yoga teacher, being an opera singer, being whatever, on your CV makes you different when people are looking at the CV. Because all our CVs look the same, more or less. We all speak 4 or 5 languages. We are all clever. But that makes the difference. But not only is it on my CV, but I also give yoga classes in the Commission. And last week, for example, in the context of the European Week of Sports, that was last week, I gave a yoga class on chairs open to everybody. So again, leading by example and daring to give your time just for something which has no link officially with your job. So now it's over. I just wish you a very nice period. Have fun. I think it's not only about the Place du Luxembourg. Brussels, Belgium, is an amazing place. Go to Mechelen. I think it's really a fascinating city. Go to all of those places. Make the best out of it. Network. And don't go, all of you, to the European institutions. I think it's much more fun to work in the private sector. Okay? So again, don't quote me, because I will be fired again. But if you have a chance, and we will organize a job fair at some stage, please try to make it an experience outside this place. It will still be time to come back later on. But this is a very complicated place if you come in as a junior. So try to win experience. Try to go for a job outside this place. Make those 6 months the best ever experience. And like in Erasmus, we never counted how many babies we have with the stagiaires. For Erasmus, we have 1 million babies, which is a fake news, by the way, because we're not sure. But who cares? And so we wish you all the best, all the best, good fun in Brussels. And now, please come for the picture. Mathieu will give you the instructions. Thank you.